Will the House come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good morning. The devotional today will be led by Representative John O'Brien of Tunbridge.
Good morning. Let me ask you a question, an anatomy question. What is the only muscle in the human body that is attached at one end? The tongue, yes. Remember from Shelburne gets it right. Now, when I was in school, we learned from a 1901 tongue map, you might remember this tongue map if you're old enough, that the tongue was divided into 4 regions, and each of those regions could recognize one of the 4 basic tastes. At the tip of the tongue, that recognized sweet. At the far back was bitter. And the sides at various points were sour and salty. Well, the map was wrong. It turns out that we have taste buds that recognize those basic tastes spread all over the tongue. The tongue map also did not include the now accepted 5th basic taste, umami. What is umami? Umami, translated from Japanese, means, variously, deliciousness, savory, or meaty. It was discovered in 1908 by a University of Tokyo chemist, Kukune Akita, who identified in the broth of kombu seaweed this unique amino acid, a distinct glutamate, as in monosodium glutamate. Akita went on to found a company that commercially synthesized MSG. Bill Bryson, in his book The Body, writes, MSG has had a hard time of it in the West since 1968, when the New England Journal of Medicine published a letter, not an article or a study, but simply a letter from a doctor noting that he sometimes felt vaguely unwell after eating in Chinese restaurants and wondered if it was the MSG added to the food that was responsible. The headline on the letter was Chinese Restaurant Syndrome. And from this small beginning, it became fixed in many people's minds that MSG was a kind of toxin. In fact, it isn't. It appears naturally in lots of foods, like tomatoes, and has never been found to have deleterious effects on anybody when eaten in normal quantities. Anecdotal evidence supports this bias. My mother, raising children in the 1960s, was always on the lookouts for toxins in foods, including all those red dyes, saccharin, trans fats. Crisco, Cap'n Crunch, and Tab were not my friends. MSG was also on her bad list. And in fact, a small percentage of people do have adverse reactions to MSG. My wife and I have great friends who took their daughter, age 9, to a Chinese restaurant, and she suffered a debilitating migraine after eating and has had migraines ever since. So maybe more research needs to be done. But enough about MSG, let's return to umami. As soon as we enter the world, we taste umami. It's present in breast milk. And as we look past this morning's floor session to lunch, we will find it on the menu. It occurs naturally in the pepperonis and tomatoes on pizza. Yes, it's in cheeseburgers too. That cheddar and caramelized onions both have it. Aged cheeses like Parmesan are high in this glutamate. Soy sauce, kimchi, miso, and fish sauce are packed with it. Shiitake mushrooms, sardines, anchovies, boom, it's in them all. Umami also has a flavor enricher superpower, and science proves this. When combined with another flavor, it exponentially makes something taste more yummy. So, as you contemplate this story of science, discovery, misinformation, and bias, you might indulge in a snack that was concocted just to appeal to your unami taste buds. And that would be the snack called Doritos. Thank you.
Will you please rise as Paige Ella Morrison of Barrytown leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members, we have 3 Senate bills for referral this morning. The first is Senate Bill 323, which is an act relating to miscellaneous agricultural subjects, introduced by the Committee on Agriculture. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S323, an act relating to miscellaneous agricultural subjects.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Agriculture, Food Resiliency, and Forestry. The next is Senate Bill 325, which is an act relating to planning and Act 250 tier jurisdiction, introduced by the Senate Committee on Natural Resources and Energy. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S325, an act relating to regional planning and Act 250 tier jurisdiction.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Environment. And finally, Senate Bill 328 is an act relating to housing and common interest communities, introduced by the Senate Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S328, an act relating to housing and common interest communities.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on General and Housing. Members, we have a House resolution to take up at this time. House Resolution 16 is a House resolution reaffirming the abiding friendship between the state of Vermont and the Republic of China, Taiwan, on the 27th anniversary of the Vermont-Taiwan sister state relationship, and supporting the enhanced Vermont-Taiwan bilateral relations and Taiwan's participation in international organizations offered by Representative of Granning of Jericho and others. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
House resolution reaffirming the abiding friendship between the state of Vermont and the Republic of China, Taiwan on the 27th anniversary of the Vermont-Taiwan sister state relationship, and supporting enhanced Vermont-Taiwan bilateral relations and Taiwan's participation in international organizations. Whereas the United States and Taiwan share a vibrant and mutually beneficial bilateral relationship based on their shared values of freedom, democracy, the rule of law, and a free market economy. And whereas the U.S. government has encouraged economic, including trade and cultural engagements and exchanges between the American Taiwanese people, particularly at the state level. And whereas in 2022, the United States and Taiwan launched the U.S.-Taiwan Initiative on 21st Century Trade to strengthen the two nations' economic and trade relationship. And in 2023, Congress enacted the United States-Taiwan Initiative on 21st Century Trade First Agreement Implementation Act, Public Law Number 118-13, approving the first agreement under this initiative. And whereas in 2025, Taiwan was America's 4th largest trading partner, with U.S. exports valued at $54.7 billion and imports from Taiwan worth roughly $201.4 billion. And for the first time in over a quarter century, the United States was Taiwan's largest export market. And in the agriculture sector, U.S. exports to Taiwan totaled approximately $2.3 billion. And whereas 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of the United States establishment as a republic based on democratic principles, and the 30th anniversary of Taiwan's first direct presidential election, symbolizing this Asian nation's enduring commitment to democracy. And whereas in 1999, the state of Vermont and Taiwan entered a sister state relationship that has proven mutually beneficial in many ways. And whereas the 2020 driver's license reciprocity agreement between the state of Vermont and Taiwan exemplifies the sister state relationship in action. And whereas in 2025, Vermont exports to Taiwan were worth approximately $268 million, meaning Taiwan was Vermont's most valuable Asian export destination and second worldwide. and Vermont imported an estimated $76 million worth of goods from Taiwan, and whereas establishing a Vermont trade office in Taiwan would further enhance this already successful and long-standing trade relationship, and whereas the government of Taiwan has expressed interest in establishing memorandums of understanding with the state of Vermont, one pertaining to economic affairs to establish a clearer structural framework for the two jurisdictions' burgeoning business ties, and a second related to education to expand educational exchanges and cooperation, particularly with respect to Mandarin language teaching. And whereas in 1979, Congress enacted the Taiwan Relations Act, Public Law number 96-8, which broadly addresses the U.S.-Taiwan relationship, and one of its provisions provides for the continued membership of the people on Taiwan in any international financial institution or any other international organization, and whereas Taiwan's participation and contributions in international organizations, such as the International Civil Aviation Organization, the World Health Organization, and the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, would greatly benefit the United States and the international community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives that this legislative body reaffirms the abiding friendship between the state of Vermont and the Republic of China, Taiwan, on the 27th anniversary of the Vermont-Taiwan sister state relationship, and supports enhanced Vermont-Taiwan bilateral relations and Taiwan's participation in international organizations. And be it further resolved that the clerk of the House be directed to send a copy of this resolution to President Donald J. Trump, President Lai Ching-te of the Republic of China, Taiwan, Director General Charles Dow of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Boston, Governor Philip B. Scott, and the Vermont Congressional Delegation.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted. Are there any announcements? Member from Glover.
Madam Speaker, I would like to welcome to the House chamber this morning members of my public speaking class and my teacher advisory who are joining us from Hazen Union School, a small but amazing high school in the Northeast Kingdom, and they are in the gallery. We have Jameson, Braden, Chloe, Sadie, Lucas, and their teacher, Miss Jo, who is keeping things down in my classroom while I am here with you guys.
Will the guest member from Glover please rise and be recognized? Member from Jericho.
Madam Speaker, we just adopted a resolution reaffirming the friendship between the state of Vermont and Taiwan that supports enhanced Vermont-Taiwan bilateral relations and Taiwan's participation in international organizations. We are delighted to have Director General Charles Lau of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Boston with us today. On his behalf, I thank the members of the House for supporting this resolution and strengthening Vermont-Taiwan ties. Director General Lau looks forward to continuing collaboration in trade, education, and cultural exchange based on our shared values of democracy, freedom, and human rights. And he's here with us in the balcony today.
Will the guest member from Jericho please rise and be recognized? Member from Poultney.
Madam Speaker, I have some good news to share. The member from Swanton becomes a grandpa for the first time, and the member from Fairfield becomes a grandpa for the second time. Interestingly enough, they were both born on Friday, March 27th. The member from Swanton's granddaughter's name is Brooks Meredith Walker, and the member from Fairfield's grandson's name is Brooks Everett Gregoire. So 2 Brooks in the house from Fairfield County. Thank you.
Congratulations, member. Member from Montpelier.
Madam Speaker, I have a very relaxing announcement. The American Massage Therapy Association will be in the building today. After a day of scrapping in committee and horse trading, they would invite you to join them in the cafeteria from 4 to 5:30, where they'll be offering 5-minute chair massages and cookies. And it doesn't get sweeter than that.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Cambridge.
Madam Speaker, the Rural Caucus will meet tomorrow morning from 8 to 8:45 in room 10 and on Zoom. We will be discussing S325 relating to rural regional planning in Act 250 tier jurisdiction and hear about the Rural Healthcare Transformation Fund. And additionally, the Rural Caucus will be hosting a listening session to hear from rural Vermonters tomorrow from 5:30 to 7 p.m. in room 10, room 11 and on Zoom. All are welcome.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Wolcott.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Older Vermonters Caucus will meet tomorrow at noon in room 10. We will be hearing from community nurses. Thank you.
Member from Charlotte.
Madam Speaker, I'm not as enthusiastic or knowledgeable with these announcements as the former member from Chittenden, who, by the way, is in second place in the women's tournament for the basketball thing. But I would like everyone to know that I am in 35th place for the women's tournament and 78th place for the men's tournament, which is the most important thing here. But also the member from Essex Junction is in first.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Berry City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have been asked to kick off this Tuesday with a week of celebration. As I drove into Montpelier this morning, the streets of Barrie were flooded not with floodwaters or because of the rain, but the tears of the populace, Madam Speaker, because this is our final week with the representative from Barrie Town. And throughout the week, we'll be celebrating him on the floor and sharing stories. A quick story, the first time I ever spoke to the representative from Barrie Town, I was on the city council at the time and we were having a debate as to whether to fund the ice rink and the, Zamboni and such up at the Barrie Outdoor Rink, which is now the Barrie Indoor Rink, but we still call it the BOR because we're just particular like that. And I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize and I picked it up and without any introduction or any, niceties, Teddy, what the heck are you people doing down in the city? We need that ice. It's been there as long as I've been alive. And, of course, Madam Speaker, I voted to keep the ice on the rink. So for this, our last Tuesday morning with the member from Barrie Town, we want to thank him for his service. The people of Barrie thank him for his service, and we're going to miss him very, very much.
We will. Member from Barrie Town.
Madam Speaker, I move that the remarks from the member from Barrie City be journalized.
The member from Barrie Town moves that we journalize the remarks of the member from Barrie Town. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have journalized the remarks of the member from Barrie City. Are there any further announcements? Member from Pollitt.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have a member that is celebrating birthday here today. This member serves on the Health Care Committee and is also a member in good standing at the Tuesday night Sarducci's Caucus. Please help me wish the member a happy birthday from Waterford.
Happy birthday, member. Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, orders of the day. Members, we are going to bump House Bill 941 to the end of the action calendar today. Please be advised there is a new amendment that has been emailed, so we'll do that last. With that, we will start with House Bill 657, which is an act relating to enabling unaccompanied homeless youth to obtain certain services without parental consent. Member from Waterbury.
Madam Speaker, I move that we postpone action on H 657 for one legislative day.
The member from Waterbury moves that we postpone action on House Bill 657 for one legislative day. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have postponed action on House Bill 657 for one legislative day. Up next is House Bill 727, which is an act relating to sustainable data center deployment. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 727, an act relating to sustainable data center deployment.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Now we'll take up House Bill 935, which is an act relating to emergency management. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 935, an act relating to emergency management.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Now we'll turn to House Bill 938, which is an act relating to establishing the Vermont Homelessness Response Continuum. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 938, an act relating to establishing the Vermont Homelessness Response Continuum.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Next on our action calendar today is House Resolution 15, which is a House resolution reaffirming the abiding friendship between the state of Vermont and the Republic of China, Taiwan, on the 27th anniversary of the Vermont-Taiwan sister state relationship, and supporting enhanced Vermont-Taiwan bilateral relations and Taiwan's participation in international organizations. Member from Jericho.
Madam Speaker, I move that we commit H.R. 15 to the Committee of Commerce and Economic Development.
The member from Jericho moves that House Resolution 15 be committed to the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have committed H.R. 15 to the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. And now we will take up House Bill 941, which is an act relating to municipal regulation of agriculture. The bill was introduced by the Committee on Agriculture, Food Resiliency, and Forestry. The member from Shaftesbury, Representative Durfee, will speak for the committee. Please listen to the second reading of the bill.
H 941, an act relating to municipal regulation of agriculture.
Member from Shaftesbury.
Madam Speaker, H 941 is a committee bill that offers a compromise solution to a problem brought on by an unexpected judicial ruling last spring. On the same day that the House gavelled out for the final time in May, the Vermont Supreme Court issued a surprise decision that overturned years of precedent and conventional understanding. For practically as long as there have been farms in Vermont, municipalities have had no legal mechanism for regulating them. Statute was clear, or so the legislature intended and everyone believed, that towns and cities could not use bylaws or ordinances to put restrictions on the way farms did business. However, the court read our statutes differently, and precedent notwithstanding, held that cities and towns do in fact have the authority to regulate some aspects of farming, specifically those not related to water quality. Farmers and other interested parties reacted right away, and over the summer and fall, representatives from a broad coalition of farmer groups, the Agency of Agriculture, and the League of Cities and Towns connected with one another with the aim of proposing a legislative solution that would be agreeable to all three groups of stakeholders. Those conversations continued into the new year and right up to the present, but ultimately have not resulted in a proposal that even any two of the three groups were prepared to endorse. The bill before us is the committee's attempt to thread that needle in a way that restores the exemption with certain limited exceptions that don't affect existing farms. It seeks to clarify legislative intent by updating the language while carving out exceptions for local future regulation where it may be reasonable to do so in residential neighborhoods. The bill also adds a new food sovereignty clause that, for the first time, establishes for everyone, farmer and not farmer alike, the right to grow vegetables and raise poultry on their property. I will now walk through the sections of the bill, noting that a strike-all amendment will be coming that changes where exceptions can be made. But members who would like to follow along the original bill as introduced by the committee can find it H941 on the House website. Section 1, Findings and Intent, notes that it has long been both the intent of the General Assembly and controlling law that municipalities could not regulate farming, and declares that going forward, they don't have the authority to do so, with limited exceptions outlined in the bill. Section 2 repeals the language that the court referred to in its ruling and replaces it with new, unambiguous wording. A farm that is required to comply with the required agricultural practices rule can't be regulated locally, with the exceptions spelled out below. Section 3 then gets to the exceptions, listing the limited ways in which a municipality could regulate agriculture, giving cities and towns the possibility of controlling traffic ingress and egress, parking, signage, fencing, and setbacks if it fell within a Tier 1A area. Notably, existing farms and conserved land would be grandfathered in and exempt from regulation. The amendment that's coming will make a change to this section, removing the reference to Tier 1A. Section 3 also prevents towns from using bylaws to prohibit everyday citizens whose operations don't rise to the level of professional farming from growing food or raising poultry, with the exception of roosters, for their own use or for donation or sale. Section 4 creates a formal stakeholder group charged with studying how to further address municipal regulation of agriculture and reporting back to the legislature in December. Section 5 is the effective date. Madam Speaker, the committee heard from a long list of witnesses: the director of the Farm to Plate Network, General Counsel, the Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets, Legislative Counsel in our Office of Legislative Counsel, Associate Professor with UVM Extension, the Legislative Director of Rural Vermont, the Director of Program Development, the Land Access and Opportunity Board, the Director of Intergovernmental Affairs with the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, the Policy Director of NOFA Vermont, the Director of Advocacy and Community Engagement with the Land Access and Opportunity Board, the Executive Director of the Vermont Association of Conservation Districts, Deputy Chief Counsel of the Office of Legislative Counsel, Policy Director with the Vermont Farm Bureau, Senior New England Program Manager with American Farmland Trust, the Municipal Policy and Advocacy Specialist with the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, the Legislative Director from rural Vermont, a lobbyist with the Vermont Dairy Producers Alliance, the Policy Director of Rural Vermont, I may have already said that, and 10 Vermont farmers, ranging across the spectrum of the type of farming we do in Vermont. The vote in the committee was 7-0-1, and we appreciate your support.
Now, the member from Shaftesbury, Representative Durfee, offers an amendment to the bill that the first assistant clerk emailed to members at 10:06 this morning. This amendment is also posted on the House Overview webpage, and paper copies are available at the main table. And it is my understanding that the member from Shaftesbury is offering this amendment in lieu of the one printed in today's calendar. Member from Shaftesbury.
Madam Speaker, your Committee on Agriculture, Food Resiliency, and Forestry took it upon itself to address this issue of municipal regulation of agriculture through the committee bill that was just reported, after receiving a request from the administration to introduce a bill and taking testimony from the various stakeholders. As often happens, we found ourselves dealing with a subject that is also of jurisdictional interest to another of your committees, in this case, the House Environment Committee. As we were finishing our work on the bill, the Environment Committee reviewed it, took some testimony of their own, and provided constructive feedback. They noted specifically that the mechanism we had used to create exceptions, Tier 1A areas, had been created for a specific purpose and did not, in fact, formally exist yet. As a remedy, the strike all amendment before you replaces that construct with one based on parcel size. At House Environment's recommendation, the amendment also provides a much more specific charge for the stakeholder group to consider ways to address conflicts between landowners in densely populated areas where livestock is involved. The structure of the amendment is consistent with the underlying bill. Section 1 clarifies the legislature's intent that municipalities generally may not regulate farming. Section 2 again repeals the language that the court ruled on and replaces it with clarifying language. Here we also include language that reserves to the state, not municipalities, the right to regulate growing fruits, vegetables, and flowers. Section 3 again lists the ways in which a municipality can regulate agriculture, here on residential-sized lots under 3/4 of an acre, so that if they choose, they can apply limited rules to activity that meets the definition of farming. Again, existing farms would be exempt from regulation. This section also prevents towns from using bylaws to prohibit everyday citizens from raising poultry for their own use or for donation or sale. Section 4 describes the stakeholder group's makeup and responsibilities. Section 5 is the effective date, July 1st. The House Agriculture, Food Resiliency, and Forestry Committee reviewed this amendment and on a 7-0-1 straw poll supports the amendment. Madam Speaker, it would be hard to overstate the importance that agriculture plays in Vermont's economy, culture, and history, symbolized on the state seal placed over the chamber and the statue of Ceres, the Roman goddess of agriculture, looking out across the land from her position atop the State House. We regularly hear in our committee that farms are currently facing strong headwinds of all sorts: rising costs of fertilizer and feed, hard to find labor, low prices over which they have little control. This amendment will help by removing another level of potential regulation. We ask for your support.
The question is, shall the bill be amended as offered by the member from Shaftesbury? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have amended the bill. Now the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for that question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and third reading is ordered. Members, that completes the orders of the day. Are there any announcements? The chair has a couple of announcements for you. Members, earlier today, the House Committee on Rules met and appointed Representative Ashley Bartley of Fairfax to the House Ethics Panel to fill the vacancy caused by the resignation of Representative Chris Taylor of Milton. Also, the second announcement, the vacancy caused by the resignation of Representative Chris Taylor of Milton. I am appointing Representative Beth Quimby of Linden to serve as the Vice Chair of the House Education Committee. Lastly, I'd like to remind members to clear desks due to the public hearing on community safety concerns held jointly by the House and Senate Committees on Judiciary. That is occurring in the House chamber from 5 to 7 this evening. Are there any announcements? Member from Essex Junction.
Madam Speaker, Democrats will not be caucusing today.
Member from Poultney.
Madam Speaker, House Republicans will caucus 10 minutes after floor.
And member from Burlington.
Madam Speaker, House Progressives will not be caucusing today.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, member from Poultney, will the House please come to order? Member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to adjourn until Wednesday, April 1st at 1 p.m.?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion this body stand in adjournment until Wednesday, April 1, 2026 at 1 p.m.
You have heard the motion. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do